WSMV 4 News at 10 starts now with this breaking news alert.
Yeah, tonight it is hard to comprehend the scope of the damage across Tennessee after several tornadoes ripped through the mid-state, leaving 6 people dead and sending dozens to the hospital.
Yeah, it's been one full day since the tornado outbreak. This is what those storms looked like as they passed through Madison last night. Just so many explosions.
Yeah, and it was a similar story in Hendersonville, flattening buildings and tossing cars around like they were toys.
Just wild. And in Clarksville, this monster storm that you're seeing right here, moving close to the road, it swept through the city. It caused some of the most severe damage that Middle Tennessee has ever seen. So here's what we know right now. The tornado warning started early around noon yesterday, and they did not stop until late in the night. And then in Clarksville, 3 people died, including a child. The tornado that killed them was on the ground so long that it tore through multiple counties in Kentucky.
Right now, there are tens of thousands of people still without power tonight, and they could be in the dark for weeks because these explosions right here, transformers and substations exploded all across the mid-state.
In Nashville, Metro Police have identified 3 people that died on Nesbitt Lane in Madison. The winds picked up Joseph Dalton's mobile home, and then they whipped it into the house where Floridima Perez was hiding with her 2-year-old son. All 3 of them died, but Dalton's 10-year-old son and Perez's 7-year-old son both survived. And they're each at Vanderbilt Children's Hospital tonight.
And also tonight, we have crews across the mid-state in Nashville, Clarksville, and Hendersonville with the latest details on the damage and the cleanup efforts.
Let's bring in our Marius Payton leading our team coverage from that home on Nesbitt Lane. Marius, all day long you've been seeing people coming and going from that area. I imagine it's been pretty quiet since the sun has gone down. The homes there are so damaged, nobody could stay there.
Well, earlier you guys mentioned the scope of the damage, and 3 of the homes behind me, you could see a total loss, just destroyed. It was up in that pile of rubble that the bodies of 2 adults and 1 child were found. But there are other homes here on Nesbitt Lane. The majority of the people who live here are staying elsewhere tonight. The tornado ripped through this community yesterday, leaving a path of destruction and chaos in its wake. Homes without roofs, power lines snapped in 2 and left in the street dangling from those power lines. When you see what's left in the neighborhood, your heart has to go out to the families that once called these places their homes. Now, earlier today, Governor Bill Lee toured the area here by Nesbitt Lane. He saw firsthand the destruction left behind. He spoke with homeowners who lost everything. He said the damage was unbelievable as he looked at the place where lives and homes were lost. But what wasn't lost, he said, was hope, and that it was heartwarming to see the way people are coming together to help their neighbors.
There is hope because the people around you that live in this community, that live in this state, they love you, they care about you. And while we cannot erase the pain and the difficulty and the heartbreak of what's happened to you, we can come alongside you.
Nashville is a place where when we face adversity, the community always steps up, and we have seen that. The amount of personal outreach that I've had from individual residents, from corporations, from nonprofits, from people at the state and federal level has just been astonishing.
Now, the governor took time to speak to a man and his son who lost everything in one of the homes behind me. He gave them his contact information and assured them that help was on the way. Now, that same tornado that hit here crossed Dickerson Pike, trapping a group of churchgoers inside of a collapsed building. But as our Alexandria Adams tells us, despite it all, their faith never wavered.
Imagine this, 13 church members inside of their life center. When a tornado rips through, the building completely collapses on them. They finally get out of all of this debris, step out to find not only the building that they were inside destroyed, but also their church.
All of a sudden, I heard a real big whistling sound. And I said, oh my God, and we started praying.
Karen Huey says she and 12 other members were gathered inside the Community Baptist Church Life Center for a banquet when a tornado tore through Saturday evening.
When we got up, it was no roof, it was no side walls, everything was gone.
Look at this view from above, from where the church was to where the Life Center Huey was inside.
Every time I hear wind, I jump up and look at my window because I'm thinking, Oh, no, not again.
Huey says another member had a large piece of iron fall onto her. Some were taken to the hospital, but most members escaped with bruises and cuts.
And I thank God. I've been thanking him all night long.
One prayer Huey hopes is answered are the return of plaques honoring loved ones that passed away. And the other?
Need prayer. Maybe God will open doors up for us so we can get another church.
In Madison, Alexandria Adams, WSMV 4.
The damage across the mid-state goes far beyond Madison. Another tornado killed 3 people in Clarksville, including a child there. Officials tell us at least 24 victims had to be taken to the hospital. Hundreds of buildings were either flattened or severely damaged. The National Weather Service believes this was due to an EF3 tornado that spun up in Montgomery County and tracked all the way into Kentucky. Here's our Jordan James, who talked to the neighbors of one of the people who lost their lives.
A confirmed tornado is now on the ground,
taking a path along Henry Place Boulevard.
Get into your safe space immediately,
where dozens of homes are now damaged.
It's like a dream, and right now we're still going through it. We're still going through the emotions.
Including the Caliasos, whose upstairs units were severely impacted as they rode the storm out in the car.
My daughters were in the back. They were like guiding me pretty much. They were like, "Daddy, it's coming, it's coming." So I was going towards the entrance. When we got to the roundabout, the tornado was to our left, and debris started hitting our vehicle. So I backed out and make a right towards the opposite way.
While they survived, 3 people ended up dying as a result of the storm, which left dozens of others injured. Clarksville officials say nearly 700 structures were affected by the EF3 tornado, which has led to a massive volunteer response.
You know, it was the first thing that popped in my mind. I knew my family was safe, and it was time for me to get out there and do what I can do for the rest of the community. I just feel very proud and actually very honored to do it at the same time.
Among those that volunteer is Sergeant Gavin Greenhill, who's stationed at Fort Campbell.
And I immediately sent out a text message saying, hey, I need volunteers and names, who can make it, who can go. And not even waiting for it, we just immediately grabbed as much people as I can and just started rushing on the door, started volunteering to look for people.
It's a gesture that those recovering say goes a long way during this difficult time.
We know you don't know them, you know, they're actually showing support, and it helps, you know, even though it's a little thing, it comforts us, you know, it's knowing that actually people care about.
Reporting in Clarksville, Jordan James, WSMV 4.
Now tonight, there are still more than 10,000 homes without power in Clarksville. The mayor says it could take a while to get things up and running again.
This is a multiple day event. Could be a couple of weeks before we get power restored. The distribution system of our power system is our first priority.
Between Clarksville and Madison and Hendersonville, there are still more than 30,000 without power in the mid-state right now. Our Courtney Allen talked with crews in Clarksville working to help get the lights back on there.
An American flag and a pulpit are the last things standing inside this church building on Britton Springs Road in Clarksville.
And that's a 100-something-year-old building. Gone.
Robert McAvoy lives next door. He hunkered down Saturday night when an EF3 tornado tore through the neighborhood.
Well, it's not like anything you see on TV. It felt like 5 minutes. It was done. It just, I mean, you know, loud, just loud.
McAvoy's home had little damage, so he spent Sunday cutting down branches, hoping it helped clear the area for all the crews working to restore power.
Think about how many people are out here right now working to get everybody back up and living normally again.
Linemen on scene Sunday told us despite their best efforts, people shouldn't expect the lights back on by the end of the night.
There's a lot of things you got to challenge, like people trying to drive through, get pictures of everything, of course the wire, and you got broken trees and everything else falling and stuff like that.
In the meantime, McAvoy's trying to find somewhere else to stay, thankful that his home was spared. Courtney Allen, WSMV 4.
Now, there are state of emergencies in effect in Nashville and Clarksville tonight. There's also one in Hendersonville. Sumner County got some of the worst of the storm. Preliminary reports show an EF2 tornado tore through Hendersonville. Thankfully, no one died in that city, but there was a close call at a local pizza shop. Our Dryden Quigley explains how the workers there made sure everyone made it out alive.
We're standing in front of what is left of Jolly Ollie's Pizza here in Hendersonville. There were 30 people inside on Saturday when the roof flew off. The owner said thanks to some quick thinking employees, everyone was able to get down to the basement and there were no injuries, but the restaurant is completely destroyed.
Like roof, it's like in the backyard right now. This is a door.
Jolly's owner, Delia Knight, was at Sam's Club when she learned what happened.
I had a uniform on me and look and said, like, do you work at Jolly's? I said, like, I own it. And they said, ma'am, I'm so sorry, a tornado hit your restaurant.
She showed us where the tornado ripped off the roof.
You can see the leftovers.
And tore through the backyard. But she says these things are replaceable.
We want to take care of them.
People are not.
As soon as I heard the voice that everyone's safe, it's all I care. This is just thing.
Today, dozens getting to work cleaning up the wreckage, donating their time, tools, and a lot of ice cream.
There you go. And I don't know them. They just come, they said, we love your place. We just want to make sure that everyone is okay.
4 years ago, Jolly's was damaged in a fire. The owner says they were able to rebuild then, and they'll be able to rebuild now. In Hendersonville, Dryden Quigley, WSMV 4.
We got a chance to speak to the restaurant manager there last night, and they saved lives. It's just that simple. Back here in Madison, it will be days, maybe weeks before the physical issues are worked out, like the lights and everything here on Nesbitt Lane. But as for the emotional toll, Lauren and Lydia, these families are processing a lot. The loss of neighbors in this close-knit neighborhood, and more importantly, how to move forward.
Yeah.
Listening back to you guys.
Marius, just so much work to be done. Thank you, Marius.
Yeah.
All right, still coming up, a lot of students across the mid-state won't be returning to the classroom tomorrow. We'll show you where and why next.
And the severe weather is long gone out of here, but many are displaced with all of that damage that moved through the mid-state. Now, tomorrow morning, it's going to be frigid cold. We're talking temperatures in the 20s. I'll talk about when finally some warmer air returns to the region coming up after this break.